there's always one story kind of nagging in the back of our minds here. Ken and I always talk about it. And it was that massive Las Vegas shooting. And how all the officials in Las Vegas and at Mandalay Bay went silent shortly after the shooting, and they've never really explained what went on when it came to the police response. Because the shooting went on for quite a while, and it didn't seem to make sense that the shooter, Stephen Paddock, could get away with shooting for as long as he did. And now it looks as if Las Vegas police have finally released some body cam video from one of the officers. We've had James Breslo on before. He has a podcast devoted to covering this issue. It's called the Hidden Truth Show podcast. And let's get James on. James, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on and for covering the story.
Yeah. Well, explain the significance of this new body cam video.
Yeah, well, your lead-in was perfect because, as you said, the stories never made sense. We got three different stories of timelines from the Vegas police, Sheriff Lombardo. We got three different stories regarding how exactly Paddock died. And now we learned for the first time that the truth is Mandalay Bay Security and Las Vegas Police were there for at least 4.5 minutes on the 31st floor listening to the shooting from one floor above. And all I can say is basically two words: cover-up. This has been a police cover-up of that fact up until now. Sheriff Lombardo just won re-election about 10 days ago, and now conveniently, finally, the body cam video is released that demonstrates this conclusively. As you hear the shots raining in the background, there's the body cam showing the officer and the three security guards there on the 31st floor. Basically, at least the police officer was cowering. Actually, the Mandalay Bay security was much more aggressive than the police officer was. He had to slow them down. They were the ones running toward the end of the hall, and he had to stop them.
So they're hiding on the 31st floor. The shooting is going on the 32nd floor, and they're listening to the shots go on for almost 5 minutes. Why would they do that?
I think that you had an officer that was terrified, and it gives me no joy to say that. And when you watch this, and I highly recommend people can go to our Facebook page, Hidden Truth Show, and they can watch the video. No one would want to be in this guy's shoes. I mean, you're watching him and you're feeling bad for him. And I still to this day feel bad for him, but he did not live up to his promise to protect and serve. When you sign up to be a police officer, these are the situations you're signing up for. This was a 10-year officer. But bottom line is, the story is he happened to be at Mandalay Bay with a training officer arresting a couple prostitutes. And as he's doing that, they get the calls. So that's why they were the first to be deployed.
And this is Officer Hendricks? You have a first name on him?
Yeah, this is Cordell Hendricks.
Cordell Hendricks, and then the training officer, Officer Varson. And the body cam is from Varson.
Yes. For some reason, Hendricks didn't turn on his body cam, which that also happened with the first guy who breached the door of Paddock's room. He didn't have his body cam on either. I don't know what their rules are regarding body cam, but if you're wearing it, it seems like you should have it on. But yeah, we finally got Varson's body cam this week. They have been delaying showing all these documents as long as possible, to the point where the Nevada Supreme Court had to finally intercede and order the police to stop screwing around and start releasing this information. That order came out before the election. They started dribbling out information before the election. Now, finally, after the election, they issue what is essentially the smoking gun video that finally conclusively shows that the police were there one floor away from the shooter for 4.5 minutes. They've never told us this before.
Yeah, this is easier to believe after the Parkland school shooting, because you had that officer, Scott Peterson, who was too afraid to go inside and take on the gunman, Nicholas Cruz, while Cruz was gunning down all those students. So,
and they also said, if you see, they also said in that, if you see something, say something. People said something and nothing happened. Here's again our police letting us down in a situation where many lives could have been saved. But if you watch the video, you see him. First of all, he walks through the casino floor to the elevator. So he's got news that there's firing going on over across the street, they got word that there was a shooting of Campos. Remember that the security guard Campos had been shot by Paddock. So Mandalay Bay had that information, so they knew the shooting was taking place on the 32nd floor and that bullets are raining on thousands of people across the street. And this guy, who looks to be 30 to 40 pounds overweight, is walking through the casino floor toward the elevator. Finally gets to the elevator bank, him and Barson and the 3 security officers. They get off on 31. Why did they get off on 31? I don't know. They knew the shooting was going on at 32. They get off at 31. There was a break in the firing at that time. So they're walking toward the end of the hallway, and then when the firing starts up again, one of the guys says, "Holy F," and suddenly there's sheer panic on the faces of each of them, which again, I could understand. That would have been my reaction, but you're a trained police officer. In fact, he was a training officer. And rather than going in the direction of the bullets, they retreat, stand in doorwells of various rooms.
I think we got to remind people, I don't know what the exact number was, but I just was glancing at a news story, and there was at least 59 people killed and 527 injured. And the cops, those 2 cops, are standing around listening to those people all getting shot 1 floor away. I mean, that is overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. If there were shots being fired, it was clear to them it sounded like machine gun fire. So in their minds, they're thinking, we are outmanned here. And they were. Albeit there was 5 of them, all 5 of them armed, and he's wearing a bulletproof vest. None of the people at the concert were wearing a bulletproof vest. So, yeah, they were outgunned, but they still had a team of 5. And I've spoken to officers, and they say all training goes out the window when you know that lives are in peril. And here they absolutely knew that thousands of lives were in peril. If it was simply breaking down the door of somebody's home, I could understand exercising more caution. But here, when you know what's going on, and every time you hear a bullet fired, it means another person hit or killed. And to cower in the hallway, there's absolutely no excuse for it. And it takes them another half hour before they leave the stairwell. Finally, when the shooting stops, they hang out in the stairwell.
All right, so what's the ramifications in Las Vegas now? I mean, now people know.
Not only do they know, they should know about the cover-up. But, the Las Vegas media has not been strong in covering this at all. The Las Vegas Review-Journal did an article about it yesterday, and it basically, if you read the article, you're basically thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is how the police responded to it. But I'm not hearing any outcry over this. And in part, it was the way, Lombardo dribbled this thing out there, and there's been a lot of criticism about the media in Las Vegas and how they have handled this, and that they haven't been tough enough. In fact, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, they endorsed Lombardo. He's the guy who's been stalling putting this information out. Turns out it was basically because it's a cover-up. He didn't want people to know that his own officers could have stopped this and saved tons of lives. And the Review-Journal actually endorsed him for sheriff, and he's already been reelected.
That is a strange, strange city. All right, James, thanks for coming on with us.
Okay, Hidden Truth Show podcast, thanks.
James Breslo, John and Ken, KFI.